morning. I'm Bernadette Zeiler, the CEO at the Johannesburg Chamber of Commerce and Industry. We'd like to welcome all participants, our speakers, and also our strategic partner, Trade Forward Southern Africa. I'd like to apologize. One of the speakers, Morrison's, has withdrawn, but we still have a very exciting lineup for today. The Johannesburg Chamber, the Chamber movement originated in Marseille in 1599 when merchants, traders, craftsmen, and industrialists needed a public forum to discuss issues facing them as a business community. The Johannesburg Chamber of Commerce and Industry is part of that more than 400-year-old Chambers of Commerce brand. JCCI was founded in 1890. It is an independent, non-political, subscription-based association dedicated to promoting an environment conducive to good business. Members are drawn from every sector of the economy and range in size from small entrepreneurs to the blue chip listed corporations. As the leading business association in the region, JCCI has been proactive in advocating for progress and change in the city and the province. As an impartial third party, the Chamber links established businesses, the emerging sector, and government at all levels. As the voice of business for the region, it lobbies on business issues ranging from domestic to international matters. JCCI is recognized as a key player in the promotion and facilitation of international trade. JCCI, we arrange 2 to 3 international events a month where the High Commissioner Ambassador will give an overview of the bilateral trade opportunities, and a platform is created where businesses can form partnerships, joint ventures, and also engage in international trade. It is JCCI is the first port of call for visiting trade missions and foreign delegates, enabling it to open the doors to new business opportunities for many members. The Chamber also organizes outward selling missions for members who benefit greatly from having pre-arranged business-to-business meetings in the markets visited. JCCI workshops and seminars cover doing business in various countries, the complexities of exporting and importing, and the latest legislation affecting business. JCCI also has formed partnerships with the German government through GIZ and with Trade Forward, the British High Commission, and other international stakeholders, where we run very dynamic and where we run developmental projects where businesses is equipped to access new markets, and also with mentorship and export training. So during these many years, JCCI has formed key partnerships, one of them being Trade Forward Southern Africa. And I'd like to encourage participants today to make use of the tools that Trade Forward Southern Africa uses. They have a School of Export, a series of modules where participants can be shown every step of exporting, and also assist you to do a market research as well to identify suitable markets. And I would now like to introduce Advocate Rob Moody from Trade Forward Southern Africa. Thank you, Rob.
Super, thanks, Bernadette. Yeah, lovely to have this ongoing partnership with Joburg Chamber of Commerce and Industry. And just to endorse what Bernadette was saying, you know, they run a number of programs. They've got a women's desk, particularly helping women grow their businesses. And they run a global export accelerator with GIZ from Germany, which, as I understand, is now spreading out further across South Africa, and is hoped that they will be able to spread that out further across the Southern African Customs Union region in a future iteration. We you know, it's a thoroughly excellent organization and a partnership that we have with them. This is the third in the series of the Meet the Buyer webinars that we've done in collaboration with the Johannesburg Chamber of Commerce and Robert Canavo, who incidentally is also South African Honorary Consul in the United Kingdom. Now, just to give you a quick understanding, you know, this is to The intent of these webinars is to introduce you to how to approach buyers, the kind of things that buyers look for. If you're not well prepared, it's a major challenge to get a good meeting with a good buyer, and you need to be very, very well prepared, and you need to have your ducks in a row, if I can put it that way. Otherwise, you will get short shift from them. So this is the third and last in this particular series. And just by way of sort of a reminder as well, Bernadette has alluded to it. Anybody can always go to the Trade Forward Southern Africa Trade and Information Hub. I will post the link in the chat bar just now for everybody as well. And what you can find there is a series of global benchmark best practice top-end tools to help with your export plans. That is from the beginning of to identify, is your business export ready, but also through the School of Export that we've developed. It's an online facility available 24/7, 365 days of the year. You can go into it, it's free of charge, you can register, and the incredible training that is available to you there in a wide range of modules is being produced together with the International Trade Institute of Southern Africa, which is the foremost trade training institution in this part of the world, Southern Africa, if not the whole continent. And they are accredited internationally. The head of ITRISA was, in actual fact, the chair of the International Association of Trade Training Organizations. So the School of Export that we've produced has really top quality training that's available to you free of charge. So that's available. And then on the Trade and Information Hub itself, there are tools from the International Trade Center in Geneva that you can use to identify what are the best markets for your product, your specific product. So that you do a much more objective analytical approach to your export market targeting, as opposed to being lost and just going at the first kind of interest that is expressed to you from some country in the world. You can use the tools to identify which are statistically the best markets for you. And then there are tools that we've built into it also to identify, are you reasonably price competitive in those markets on the basis of comparing the import cost or the import pricing at customs declaration stage for various countries supplying your kind of product into those markets that you've targeted. You can use the tools also, it's kind of linked to these meet the buyer processes. Built into the tools are two databases. Again, global benchmark best databases that have been drawn in by the International Trade Center as well. That is the Compass directory and Dun & Bradstreet directories. You could use them to identify potential business partners in your targeted markets for your specific type of product, category of product. And then vitally, you can also see what the various rules and regulations are that you have to comply with in order to get your product imported into the foreign markets that you are targeting. So that covers things like the customs duty that you will have to be paying, or that will have to be paid on your product when it's cleared through customs in that country. It also tells you what the VATs and other taxes are that would be your product will be hit with when it goes through customs. And then crucially, it gives you access to the various rules and regulations depending on your particular product. Some of you who've been in export know that there are all sorts of rules and regulations on the chemical content or chemicals that can be applied to products, labeling of various products, the composition that various products can and can't be formulated with. All of those rules and regulations are available via the Trade and Information Hub. So just remember, if you are looking to export, do go to the Trade and Information Hub, and you'll find all of these tools and resources there. And if you're from a business support organization, these tools are available, and the School of Export is available to you to train exporters. It's a service that you can offer to your members if you're a business chamber. It's an additional free of charge service that you can offer that gives additional value to your members for the membership fee that they pay to you as a business chamber. And if you're one of the export promotion agencies, these are incredibly valuable tools for you to use yourself, as well as to let your clients use to help them identify export markets and actually go through the process to achieve their exports. Bernadette, thanks very much. Let me pass it back to you for us to actually kick off with the meat of this session. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. And I'd just like to encourage participants, the tools offered by Trade Forward Southern Africa, they're really so beneficial to all exporters, and there's no additional cost as well. I'd like to hand over to our next speaker, to James Bailey. James will be covering what do UK retailers demand from suppliers. Just a short bio on James. After an economics-based first degree, James advanced to postgraduate studies in export marketing and German language, where he was awarded the Napier University Edinburgh Medal of Excellence. He was appointed export manager in a UK Scottish defense and aerospace electronics company and was based in Dundee, then in Germany. He was promoted to European, then global export manager, a position that took him as far as the Republic of Korea. At the start of 2006, James joined the South African High Commission, London, as Trade Section FDI Investment Manager, working to attract FDI into South Africa across multiple sectors. As a Scot, he gravitated naturally towards oil and gas and renewable energies. He attended the prestigious Aberdeen University Energy Week residential course in 2014. From 2015 to 2017, James completed an MA Theology distinction, and after exploring ordination, he now serves as a voluntary RAF Association welfare officer and advises his local branch in marketing. He continues to engage in ad hoc FDI consulting and most recently advised a potential candidate for the ambassadorship of the Zambian Embassy, Berlin, and engaged in discussions with the city of Leipzig on a UK market entry strategy. Thank you, James.
Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, perfect.
Yes. Everything is perfect.
Yeah, good. Good morning. I will be offering an overview of the UK supermarkets and buyers and how you can potentially become a listed supplier. So here we have an overview of the market landscape of the UK supermarkets. The top three, Tesco, Sainsbury, and Asda, account for over 55% of market share. However,
James, we can't see the screen.
You can't see the screen.
No. Okay, yeah, do you want to start? Do you want to go back? Okay, perfect.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, this is an overview of the UK landscape for the supermarkets. The top three supermarkets, Tesco, Sainsbury, and Asda, account for over 55% market share. However, the real story is the rise of the so-called discounter chains, and this is where the real opportunities are to be found. Now, the UK consumers are experiencing an unprecedented mix of price inflation, of wage suppression, and the devaluation of the UK pound sterling. So real disposable income in the UK is now collapsing. You'll see here a recent headline that even Tesco, in #1 position, are fighting to retain market share from these new entrant discount grocery rivals. And indeed, in September this year, for the first time, a non-UK supermarket has entered the top 4 rankings. So I categorize these discounters as market insurgents. They're both German companies who may be familiar to you, Aldi and Lidl. So they both entered the UK market some 10 years ago, and Aldi, for instance, originally had a less than 3% share of the UK market. They are now, in 2022, approaching 10%. Similarly, Lidl is now the fastest growing grocer in the UK, and in 2022, it has also leapfrogged established UK supermarkets, and it's now the largest grocer in the UK. Lidl, I predict, is on its way to reach 5th in the rank in the near future. Now, the success of the discounters can be put to their ability to source lower price areas. They're looking out with the European Union now for new suppliers. They concentrate on a core product range, very much price driven. They are much more prepared to experiment with alternative and less well-known suppliers, products, and places of origin. And also, they have a reputation for being satisfied with a smaller margin than that of UK supermarkets. Now, if we look at the opportunity in more detail, this is a recent study of UK consumers' predicted future spending behavior. Now, according to this study, 28% of UK consumers will simply reduce the overall spend. Now, I consider this a gross understatement. I believe the figure may even approach as high as 40%. So they're looking to reduce spend full stop. Some 36% are looking to switch to cheaper own brand products in supermarkets, and 14% are looking to switch supermarkets. Now you'll notice that Lidl and Aldi together constitute some 70% of UK consumers anticipating switching to the discounters. Now, if we look at the supermarket objectives, these of course are self-evident. They're in business to maximize sales, margin, and profitability. So, I mean, that's not rocket science. But if we look at this slide, this is a summary of real, actual retail buyer feedback from these major supermarkets. These are the key needs of retail buyers as expressed by the buyers. This is what they look for from potential suppliers. So if you look across these, there are common factors. They expect you as the potential supplier to know your product, to know your competitors, to know the UK market, to know the supermarkets, and above all, to have a concrete business plan and a product evidence-based offer to them. Now, I'd pick out two particular aspects on this slide. One is highlighted by Asda here. It says, try and see things from the buyer's perspective. The second I would highlight is from Aldi, and it says, the supplier should know where his product fits within the supermarket's core seasonal or special offering listings. And I'll look at these in a bit more detail in a minute. Now, it's important to look at context. This is a recent study that highlights how difficult it is to gain acceptance and entry as a new supplier. So this study looked at 25,000 new brand launches. And if you look here, 91% of new brands do not make a successful entry to the market. So only 9% of new brands succeed, and they drive 58% of new sales. So the success differentiators that explain the 9% who do succeed, unfortunately, the success differentiators are exactly the factors and capabilities where small suppliers are at their weakest. It's about off-shelf support, promotional support, distribution, and logistics. And these factors explain why 2/3 of small companies' new brands fail. Now, this is not pessimism. This is hard reality. This is what you have to work to overcome. Now, as I said, the key is to see things from the buyer's perspective. Look at the process of supplier selection from the buyer's stance. So you have to look as a supplier at how you can help the buyer meet his targets. Will your product drive volume? Will it drive more margin for the buyer? Now, if we look at the supplier and buyer interaction, first is range review. So every supermarket engages in ongoing gap analysis of their product lines and ranges. They measure this against ongoing market data and trend analysis. And this is the point where they identify the need for new products. And this is your access point into the process. So what they're looking for is, if they express an interest in your product, they will invite you to send product samples. They will invite you to send your product data sheets, your technical specifications, and they'll want to know more about your capabilities and your capacities. You will then enter a process of engagement with the buying team to discuss your offer and whether you can satisfy them, that you can meet their terms and conditions, their standards. This will form the basis of commercial negotiation, because the buyer has a tender brief with terms and conditions that you have to meet. If you satisfy those terms and conditions, then you will go on to reach a signed contractual agreement. Now, every supermarket has a product listing opportunity. Together with the buyer, you will identify the listing that is best for your product and his sales matrices. So for example, if your product is considered viable for year-round shelf stocking, you will be offered a permanent listing. If the buyer advises you your product has particular relevance for a seasonal listing, be it Christmas or Easter or perhaps summer or winter, then that will be the listing you will be offered. In terms of food, it's very much driven by the food category of your product, whether it's fresh, frozen, ambient, whatever. And within the food product listing, there are special promotions, sometimes as short as a week, sometimes a month, sometimes longer. These food special listings can also be approached through a thematic promotion. So for example, a supermarket may run a Africa Week that highlights African produce. So this is where you would decide on the listing. Once that's agreed, you would then send a consignment that would be measured by the buying team for quality to ensure it's in line with what is expected of you. They would then look to align it with a launch date from the listing calendar. Now, you should be aware that the lead time for some of these listings is a minimum of 10 to 13 weeks in advance. Now, if we look at supplier registration, in the contemporary internet-driven world, all supermarkets have online supplier portals. Here we see the Tesco supplier network. Now, do not simply sign up and jump in. That is the route to failure. Prepare the ground in advance. Read all public domain information about the supermarkets. Identify key buyers on LinkedIn and study UK market trends. Now, the other aspect is supplier and potential supplier training. All the supermarkets operate specialist training courses. Now, here on this screen, see specifically the Tesco online course offering. This is not only for existing suppliers, it's for potential suppliers. If you sign up for these courses, you will learn the specifics of what the supermarket requires and expects of you and your product. I would advise strongly that you do sign up, because then on completion, you will enhance your prospects of being selected as a supplier. Now, your local chamber may be able to facilitate your access to this type of training portal. So do ask your local chamber or export promotion agency for assistance in this regard. Now, here's a selection of supplier portal registration websites. As you can see, for Asda, Sainsbury, the Co-op, Aldi, and Lidl. They do operate a similar sign-up scheme. So you should go and visit these websites. They also issue PDF supplier information packs, which you should read as well, and get a feel for what they're looking for. Now, because we're dealing here, I suspect, mostly with new, small potential suppliers, my advice is that your initial step should be with this website. It's low risk, low outlay, and potentially high reward for new small suppliers such as yourselves. It's called the rangeme.com website. Now, basically, how this works is you create a free profile to highlight your company, your brands, your products. These will be showcased on this website by category to category buyers from across the different UK supermarkets. So you're having visibility and exposure across the companies, across the supermarkets. It's a multiple visibility platform. So here we see Tesco's. Here we see Asda. Here we see the Co-op. So if there's one thing you do first, it's go and create a profile on this website. Now, in conclusion, work together with your local Chamber of Commerce. Only make a move when you're confident. register with ReachMe and gauge response for perhaps a month, 2 months, 3 months. Only then proceed to the full supplier portal registration. Now, in terms of targets, I've suggested you go initially for these 3 companies, the Co-op, Aldi, and Lidl. Now, you'll have noticed none of these are in the top 3 of the supermarket market share in the UK. There is a reason. So for the Co-op, for example, it has the reputation of being progressive. It very much supports fair trade, and it also actively looks for small suppliers outside Europe, particularly in Africa. Aldi and Lidl, as we've discussed, they are very much more attuned to new small suppliers, and they are actively looking for suppliers outside Europe. One of the reasons being the pound collapsing against the euro and the dollar. So suppliers who quote in, for example, rand or other currencies are looked upon more favorably at this time. So in conclusion, I would say use your advantages in terms of being an African supplier. The UK consumers have a high degree of acceptability of Africa origin produce, particularly compared with continental Europe. So you are entering the UK market at a time that favors you. So I wish you good luck and success in your looking to become a favored supplier with the UK supermarkets. Thank you.
Thanks, all.
Thank you, James, for a very informative and valuable presentation, actually just giving the details of how to be listed. I think the information shared is very valuable, and I'm certain many participants will actually access that information. Thank you so much, James. I'd like to hand over to our next speakers from Standage Digitrade, Kenta Omori and Yahari Kasami. Kenta Omori is the COO of Standage, a Japanese trading and blockchain technology provider. He has vast experience in trade and M&A. Formerly with Itaku, Omori-san co-founded Standage Incorporated with a vision of building innovative payment infrastructure to address cross-border trade. Furthermore, his company seeks to grow business between Japan and Africa. Thank you. I'd like to hand over to Standage. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the introduction. I think that's good morning, right? Good morning to everyone. Greeting from Tokyo, Japan. We are currently at 6:35 p.m. Yes. So let me start my presentation, and also except me today, my colleague from South Africa, the general manager, is also joining. So I will do briefly about 10 minutes for whole picture about what we are doing. And also I will pass to her, and she will explain that what kind of the products are we treating and what is any potential collaboration. Thank you so much. Yeah, so just I think you can see my screen now. Yes. So we are the trading company. We not only do the import and export, and half of our members are engineers. So we also develop our own trading system, which is mainly targeting for the payments between Africa and other countries. Actually, not only limited to Japan. Yeah, so I can explain that. So first of all, our company outline. Sorry, many sentences. Yeah. So we established in 2017. So this is the 6th fiscal year. And the CEO and I, which were a co-founder of the company. So currently we have 35 people and mainly focusing on the business with Africa. So we have branch in South Africa, Nigeria, Kenya, and Egypt. And we're doing the many kind of the products import, export daily. Yeah, so this is just a tracking record. What we want to make is to make the trading business very general, because especially in Japan, I think the situation will be similar for other countries, but in Japan, it is almost 33.58 million SMEs about the numbers, but only less than 1% of SMEs, they have the business with overseas. So one of our mission is to expand, to help those 99% SMEs, to make them easy to start the trading business with Africans potential, buyers or sellers. Yeah. So what we will do is we will solve these 4 issues through our platform. Yeah. So this is one of our service called DigiTrade. So the name derives from digital, traditional, and trading. Yeah. So what we offer for 3 service, the first is, this presentation mainly is focused on the seller in Japan. So that's why I send your product. Yeah. But you can imagine that we will supply the product from Japan and export to Africa. And in the same time, we want to supply the product from Africa, then import to Japan. So we have both way. Yeah. So here for one of the collaboration way is we are looking for the potential buyer partners or seller partners in Southern Africa area. So if you're interested for export or interested for import both, we are very welcome. We hope to have the one-on-one session in next time. And also for number 2, yeah, in those 4 countries, we can do import, we can do inventory, and also we can do distribution. So not only from Japan to Africa, and also some Africa product, we can just import, we can buy in local African side, and we ship to Japan, and in Japan we can find the potential buyers. Yeah. And the third one is the digital currency settlement. This is our technological part, and we also have the patent for this one. For the first part, it's very easy. You can see this page. So what we do from Japan to Africa, what we do is we are looking for the potential partner, buyer's partner. Then we can ship them the sample, ask them to use, and we can sell. And what kind of products are we mainly tracking? My colleague will explain later for several of our core products. But one of our advantage is in our platform, it is almost over 2,500 products. So I can tell you that if you have any potential product you want, yeah, you can just let us know, like a car, like a laptop, like a cosmetic, I'm not sure, but we can find from Japan and propose to the audience, and then we can start just a negotiation. Yeah. And also, we can easily make the product or the company list in both Japan side and the Africa side. Yeah, this is some reporting information. And also for inventory, what we do is, this is the case, every month we are shipping the car, and we also have our own warehouse. Just we do the inventory, we do the after maintenance and ship. Yeah, so if there is any product, we can also do the same in Japan side. Yeah, and the third one is about the digital currency settlement. This is also one of our core business. We use the digital currency to enable safe and faster about the payments. I don't think in South Africa there's any issue about the payments, but like in Nigeria, there is a very serious shortage about US dollar. So what we do is we use a digital currency to make it easier, convert from local fiat to digital currency, and we can help to convert, and we can pay to over 150 countries. Of course, not only limited to Japan. So like the case from South Africa, like let's say to Brazil, Nigeria to Cambodia, Kenya to China. So any way that if you have any request, and also we can support you. And in Japan, we are of course a licensed company to do this kind of the business. Yeah. So that's basic what we are doing for from my side, and also our past. to my colleague Yaeli. She will introduce several of our core product and hope we can find some, good business collaboration. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Omori-san. Good day, everyone. Please just give me a moment to share my screen. Just a moment, please. It's still loading. Okay, so thank you, Omori-san. Good day, everyone. My name is Yayeri Kisame, and I work for Standage, and I'm responsible for South Africa and the Southern African region. As my colleague mentioned, we are a blockchain technology provider, and we're also a trading company. So for today's presentation, I would like to specifically focus on the products that we provide for the agricultural sector. So just an overview of agriculture in Africa. Currently, our population accounts for about 13% of the global population. And as a result, this has given rise to food security challenges, which have been largely attributed to low productivity. So the Comprehensive African Agricultural Development Program was in place, or was put in place, to try and address these challenges, and it focuses on four main sectors, or four main points. And the first one being sustainable land management. And this is really just looking at sustainable farming practices, which are responsive to climate change, and also that do not harm our farmlands. And then the second one is capacity for market access. And this is really just looking around capacitating small commercial farmers to participate more in export. And I think we're all aware of the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement. And we would like to see more small-scale farmers being capacitated in order for them to meaningfully participate in this free trade area. The third focus of the CAADP is to increase food supply, and this really just looks around making sure that we have stable food supply for the African continent because of our increasing population. And then lastly, they look at improving agricultural research. And this is some of the research that we're going to share with you in terms of agricultural inputs that can be of value to the region. So when you look at Africa, we have common soil challenges that have an impact on our agricultural farmlands. And I've listed 5 main ones, being soil erosion, soil salinity, desertification as a result of drought. And I think over the past couple of years, we've seen how a high temperature increase has resulted in very, very dry conditions, which have impacted our farmers, in their ability to produce crops. The fourth one is soil infertility. The fifth one is a reduction in nutrients. And also this is attributed to acidification or pollution. So what has this resulted in then for the continent in terms of food production? So one, we're seeing a decline in crop productivity. And obviously this has it's been linked to our food security challenges. And then research has shown that nearly 40% of our soils lack nutrients. And as a result, because we're unable to produce at maximum capacity, we find ourselves importing a lot of food. And the African Development Bank estimates our food imports to about $35 billion US dollars annually, which is quite a lot. So in Japan, these challenges are also impacting their farmers there. So the Japan conservation engineers came up with a product called Fujimin. So Fujimin is really just a plant activator. It's 100% organic. It's produced from natural materials. And because of this, it has no adverse impacts on the environment. So it does no harm to our soils in the same way as chemicals do. And the good thing about this product is, one, it helps in the absorption of fertilizers. And then secondly, it helps in improving the quality of the soil. And as we go along with the presentation, I will show you some of the projects that we have done and some of the results that we've been able to achieve using this product. So the main benefits of this product are, the first one, it helps in the activation of photosynthesis. And I believe I'm speaking to farmers in the room who will understand what I'm talking about. Secondly, it helps in the efficient absorption of fertilizer. And I think for us, the main important points are, it helps in buffering the soil pH, and it controls the damage of the soil from salinity. And we'll see in the next slide how we've been able to achieve this. So in terms of application of Fujimin, we have used it in countries like Paraguay, we've used it in countries like China. And in Paraguay, for example, this is the first picture with the tomatoes. They had a problem with calcium deficiency in their soil. And as a result, this resulted in blossom end rot. So the picture with the rot is the picture that was taken from a tomato that had not used Fujimin. And then the one on the left is one that we had used to apply, we had applied Fujimin onto. So you can see the clear difference in how Fujimin has been of benefit to the people or the vegetable farmers in Paraguay. The second picture here, it's a rice paddy. If you know, in Japan, we do get a lot of typhoons, which tend to have an impact on our soil and making the soils a lot more acidic. So what happened here in the second picture, as you can see, we applied this product on a rice paddy, and you can clearly see the difference between the paddy that wasn't treated with Fujimin and the one that was treated with Fujimin. So because Southern Africa, our staple is maize, we also did a trial with maize, and we did this in China. So as you can see the picture on the left, this is what their farmland looked like before desalination, or rather before application of this product. And then on the right side, you can clearly see the results of this. We have also used Fujimin in countries like Eswatini. We have been working with a strawberry farmer who's looking at growing produce for the export market. So the picture on the left clearly shows the result of non-application or not using Fujimin. And then on the right, you can clearly see the difference. Her strawberries are bigger, the flowering is more lush, and overall the farmer was very happy with the product. We're also doing trials in Kenya, and this is a trial we did with kale, but we're also doing another trial with sugarcane. We started around March this year, so sometime later in the year or next year, we should be able to get the results. And we're basically also going to be trying this on pineapples as well, and also vegetable farmers there as well. So what we're trying to achieve with this is to really speak to what governments are talking about in terms of capacitating farmers, in the region, reducing the import bill, and also making sure that our farmers get to export some of their products. Currently, this year, we will be starting with a project in South Africa with some vegetable farmers in Limpopo. When we had a meeting with them, some of the issues that they cited was the excessive use of chemicals and diseases in the region, all of this which have resulted in the degradation of their soils. We're also working with the Namibia Agronomic Board, and for them, we will be trialing our product on maize, because they too are looking at reducing their import bill. And if you would know, Namibia imports quite a lot of their maize from South Africa and other neighboring countries. So what we would like to achieve is to really just partner with organizations or governments that are interested in capacitating farmers. And we would like to work with them in providing the product and seeing or holding their hand throughout the trials to get the results that they would like. The second product that I would like to speak to
Sorry,
is...
may I just ask, where can we source this product in South Africa? Is it on shelf?
It's not on shelf yet. It's not on shelf yet. We are still in the process of registering the product in the country, and we have sent the samples to the relevant agencies to make sure that it is registered and we can put it on the shelf. But currently, if you would like to do trials with us, my details, I will show my details at the end of the presentation, and then we can chat further. Is that okay?
Thank you. Sorry, I don't think I'm allowed to unmute myself.
Right.
That sounds wonderful, Yeri. Love the question. And it sounds like a fabulous opportunity to increase quality and quantity, which is, as I say, chat bar, is so important for export. If you can't produce to quality and quantity, you can't export adequately. This is fabulous, Yeri.
Absolutely, Rob. Thank you very much. So the last product I would like to present, it's a next generation paint that is called Danest. And the advantage of this paint is it works both in winter and also in summer. So in summer, one, it protects your building or your facility from the rays of the sun and also from absorbing heat. So what this does for you is if you have other air conditioning facilities that you're using, you will then use less energy, and also you will be reducing your carbon footprint. So the reverse happens as well in the winter. If you have a room that you're trying to keep warm, normally what happens in winter is you tend to use a lot of energy because there's a lot of cold air coming in. But what this paint does is it insulates either your building or your facility, making sure that the heat or the temperature that you're keeping in the room is maintained at that, and it prevents any cold air from coming in. And I'm going to show you some of the examples where this product has been used, and with the hope that it can be applied to our region. So we have used these products in barns, in schools, in detached houses, in factories and warehouses, etc. And if you think of our context in Africa, the past couple of days we've been having a heat wave. So imagine the amount of energy that was required to keep a lot of the agricultural produce cool. If, for example, you have a poultry farm, imagine the kind of energy that you'd have required to make sure that your chickens stay alive. So this product you can use, either you can paint on the walls, or you can paint on the roof of your facility, or you can paint it on containers as well. I mean, in Japan, we have a farmer who does container farming, and he uses this product. Unfortunately, I didn't put the picture here, but I can share it with the webinar organizers. So the biggest achievement for us with this product is we used it at a large retail store in Japan, and they were able to reduce their power consumption by 36% in the summer. And then we used this as well in a factory in winter in Japan as well, and they were able to reduce their electricity consumption by 50%. So for now, this product is in China, Mongolia, Indonesia, India. The most interesting part for us is Antarctica, because Antarctica is very, very cold. So we're trying to test or have like a proof of concept to see if this paint can maintain warm temperatures, you know, in some of the structures here in Antarctica. So our call to everyone here is, if you'd like to engage with us and discuss some of the solutions that we have, my contact details are there. Please feel free to either give me a call or drop me an email, and I'll be more than happy to have a chat with you. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Yari and Kenta, for your excellent presentations. And there's just been so much interest expressed in the products as well. So we will make that information available. Thank you so much. And I'd like to hand over now to Rob Canava, our trade advisor. But before I do, I'd just like to thank all our guest speakers for your informative and for your valuable input. It really will assist businesses to make their businesses more sustainable. Thank you once again. Thank you, Rob.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Bernadette. So thanks again to the speakers, James, Kenta, Yayeri. It was really such useful information. From our side, I just want to say thanks to Bernadette and Busi from the JCCI. This is our final Meet the Buyer session. I mean, it's been really informative and I think terrific information that we've managed to share today included. To Rob Moody and Sim and the TFSA team, thank you. To all of you as well for making this happen. I think we've been through the 3 Meet the Buyer sessions. This has been the final one. And I can't just end it just like this. I've got to give you some food for thought and a challenge. So for some of you who will remember, we spoke about a product that was harvested, dried, steamed, shelled, peeled, graded, seasoned, packaged, and transported. We spoke about this in our first session of Meet the Buyer, and it raised a lot of discussion, and it raised a lot of controversy, and it raised a lot of sort of food for thought. So I thought I'd bring it up again, and these are cashew nuts that you find in Tesco in the UK. So for those of you who can see, this little product, it's sold in 60 grams, and it's cost £1. But the interesting thing about it, you can see it says the product of Vietnam. Now this £1, just to put it into perspective, for 60 grams works out to £16.66 a kilo, which is $19, about $19.20. Now, if you put that into perspective, the sort of farm price that, and I said this in the correction, from the research that I've done, the farm price that raw cashews are getting in shells is around 85 cents, which is roughly 1/20 or 5% of this price. So what this means is that the Mozambican cashews, and sorry, I use Mozambique as an example, but I'll refer to South African products now as well. We're just as guilty, if you can say, of the same issue. So the Mozambique, and I say cashews because I raised this in the first issue. So Mozambique, as we know, is one of the world's leading producers of cashew nuts, and it's the biggest producer in Southern and East Africa. But what is actually happening at the moment, so just to put it into perspective, this product that's selling for almost $20, the Mozambican farmer at £1, sorry, is only getting 5p. 5% of the value of this product is actually going to the Mozambican farmer. And that's the food for thought that I want to leave suppliers, exporters, producers out there. I mean, I can say the same thing for South African macadamia exporters. So I mean, if we look at the Mozambican macadamia exporters, 69% of their product goes to Vietnam. So these could potentially be Mozambican cashews that are sold in the UK. So we need to ask ourselves, and the challenge that I say to everybody is, where do we want to play in the value chain? I mean, of that £1, we're only getting 5p, 5%. I mean, it's obviously unrealistic. The retailer, Tesco, has to make a markup. There's transport costs involved. But we need to add more value in the supply chain. And I think as a region, we need to ask ourselves, how much value can we add? of course, it's unrealistic that 100% of our exports are value added. So in the macadamia, in the cashew nut instance, for instance, $32 million of Mozambican exports go out in shells. That's 60%. The other 40% are shelled. In South Africa's case, on the macadamias, 40% go out as shelled, and 60%. Sorry, it's the other way around. 60% are in shells and 40% are shelled. And obviously the shelled ones basically reach a higher value and are sold, for instance, to the USA. But we're just as guilty on the macadamia side from a South African context, where a lot of our shelled products go to Vietnam and then probably come back to the UK in this format. So on that final note, I just want to say thank you to everybody that attended. Whatever information you've learned, please share it with your colleagues. Keep this little tub in mind. The fact that we're only getting 5p out of the £1, we need to add more value locally. We need to work together. I mean, we need to set realistic targets, adding, maybe we can, for instance, say in 3 to 5 years or 10 years time, we want to have a 30 or 40% value added contribution to this price. So on that note, it's been fantastic. And thanks again to everybody that's attended. And yeah, definitely we'll still interact together with the JCCI and TFSA on all fronts. Thanks again.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Rob. That was lovely. It
you.
leaves good food for thought. No pun intended.
That's what I thought.
Excellent. Thanks, thanks, Rob. Thanks, Bernadette. Thanks, Kenta. Thanks, Yayeri. And thanks, James. And thank you to the audience. The recording will be available on the website of Trade Forward Southern Africa and on our YouTube channel. And you should all get a message when it goes up. Bernadette, thank you ever so much for coordinating. Rob, thank you ever so much for coordinating, and to Busi at JCCI as well. It's been a wonderful journey. Maybe we can carry on doing some more into the future.
Fantastic. Let's hope so. All right. Great stuff, Rob. Thank you.
Thanks, Rob.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye. Bye,
Bye, everyone. Bye.